Peter Parker is on a tall rock, and looks at the stars with a bamboo telescope. For a few months, he learned a lot of cool things, like a scientist. Things that even a dinosaur expert would want to know. Peter Parker, the smartest guy on Earth, sees two streaks in the sky through his telescope, and realizes that his time is almost up. Peter looks messy with a big beard, and wears part of his Spider-Man mask like a headband. He climbs down from his tall rock, feeling a bit sad about how things turned out. Now heading into his bamboo house, filled with big caged insects, Peter answers the question of what happened to Spider-Man. He jokes that he turned into the professor from Gilligan's Island, and now lives with a bunch of giant bugs. One big mystery is a beautiful woman he dreams about, but he doesn't know who she is. Looking at carvings of her face on his wall, he regrets not knowing her name, or why he dreams about her. He also wishes he knew how he ended up in this strange place, and is upset about the idea of dying without knowing. Peter walks through the jungle, worried about someone who wants to harm him. In their last meeting, this person threatened to do terrible things to Peter if he ever came back. Looking at a valley of fire, Peter sees a volcano erupting, and hears scary battle cries. Strangely, these sounds make him feel a bit better, because they're the first voices he's heard in weeks. There's a big fight between two groups of ancient people, the ape-like kill folk, and the more human-looking small folk. The kill folk want to hurt kids and take women. Everyone in the tribe fights hard. The small folk proudly call themselves that because they believe it's not about how big you are, but how strong you fight. Logan, in just a basic covering, uses his sharp claws to protect the tribe by taking on the enemy and stopping them. After the big fight, bodies are everywhere, and survivors are covered in blood. The defeated kill folk bow down to Logan. He tells them to say it if they want to live. One of the kill folk agrees that the small folk, especially Logan, are in charge. A small folk tells Logan that the spider god has arrived. Peter appears hanging upside down on webs, calling himself the friendly neighborhood spider god. He jokes with Logan about not listening to advice, and warns him not to mess with the timeline. A small folk proudly says that Logan rules the valley, and Logan agrees happily. A kid talks about hurting the kill folk, and leaving their bones for the devil beasts. Logan stops the child, saying they're not animals, and shouldn't act like them. Logan turns to Peter, asking why he's there, and reminding him of their previous talk. Logan tells Peter to leave and go back to his hill home with bugs and statues. He thinks they won't find a way back to their own time, and Peter should accept that. As Logan walks away, Peter tells him something really serious. They are in big trouble, because a huge asteroid is coming, and it's going to cause a disaster that wiped out the dinosaurs. Tomorrow, everything will turn to ash, and there's nothing they can do. Peter walks away from the valley, and a kid chases him, shouting they should hurt the spider god. Logan stops the kid, telling them to let Peter go. Later that night, the small folk have a party, drinking from a simple beer-making setup. Peter has similar thoughts, thinking that even characters like Son of Satan, Howard the Duck, or any Hulk would be better company than Wolverine. He reflects that if it were Reed or Tony, they would have built a bamboo time machine already. Some months ago, in today's New York City, a bank alarm goes off. Spider-Man swings by, telling annoyed people to move, because he's a famous superhero. He enjoys their irritable reactions, even joking about selling autographs and photos. In a dark alley, Wolverine confronts a scared thug with his claws out. Wolverine tells the thug he can't escape, and asks for information. Instead of running away, the thug pulls out a gun and teases Wolverine, saying he brought him here. Wolverine assures the thug the gun won't help, and his killing days are done. The thug, acting strangely, talks about having one more person to kill, not Wolverine, because he has big plans. The thug was paid to bring Wolverine here, promised fame for this task. The thug warns Wolverine to hurry, and wishes him a great trip, pointing the gun at his own head. In a bank, a loud sound comes from a gun, but it's the orb holding it. He's dressed like a stuntman with a giant eyeball helmet, and his partners, wearing eyeball masks, tell everyone to get on the floor and not look at the orb. Inside the vault, two guys talk about how strange it is to work for someone who calls them Orbelings. One of them says he might go back to Angar the Screamer's crew if they don't get caught. They ask another partners, Marty, if he found anything valuable. Marty opens a safe deposit box, and there's a green glow inside. Marty hurries to show the glowing diamonds to his boss, the orb. At that moment, Spider-Man swings in, and accidentally knocks the diamonds into the air. Spider-Man jokes about waking up in jail, with either one or two black eyes. An Orbeling threatens Spider-Man with a gun, but Wolverine arrives, slicing the gun to pieces with a snick sound. When the diamonds hit the floor, a bright green light surrounds everyone, and suddenly Spider-Man and Wolverine find themselves alone in a jungle. Spider-Man is confused and asks where the bank went, and how they ended up in the savage land. Wolverine, using his sharp sense of smell, says they're not in the savage land. Spider-Man starts to understand what's going on, when he sees dinosaurs in the distance. On the night of the comet, Peter lets his giant bugs go, telling them to make him proud, and be careful of falling asteroids and ice ages. He decides to destroy his house, and remove any signs that he was there. Peter thinks about how his adventures are not supposed to end like this. He believes he's not supposed to die, and he should always have the last word. However, as he faces the possibility of extinction, he can't find the right words to say. Logan lets the small folk enjoy their victory and rest. He releases his prisoners, telling them to go back to their families. He takes some time to think, admitting to himself that he might have been too tough on Parker. Logan hopes that the good things he's done are more than the bad ones. He knows they'll find out soon. Both Peter and Logan can't just sit and wait for the disaster. Peter tries really hard to find a last-minute scientific solution to redirect the impact at his tower. Logan, in his valley, lets anger take over his usually clear mind. Peter can't figure out the solution he needs, desperately wishing for more time. In Logan's valley, he hears a snap and tackles a hidden figure. This figure is black with yellow lines and metallic tentacles on its head. The figure begs Logan not to kill him, saying it's not his fault. With the asteroid about to hit, Peter's last thought is an apology to his Uncle Ben. Parts of the asteroid burn away, showing more of the mysterious diamonds. Peter and Logan are surrounded by the strange glow, just as the asteroid hits. A bright light covers Peter, as he thinks about this feeling of death, finding it no different. Someone blurry tells Peter to wake up, and when they know him, he thinks he's in heaven, excited to see Uncle Ben and Gwen. But as things become clearer, Peter sees Logan and understands it's not heaven after all. Peter starts crying, feeling bad for lying to Aunt May about eating brownies meant for the homeless. Logan tells him to stop crying, assuring him that he's not dead. Logan admits Peter might have been right about causing trouble by living with the ape folk. As Peter looks around, he sees a strange place with armed guards and an ape man riding a giant robotic devil dinosaur. This leader orders his warhorse to crush them, showing that the small folk rule this wasteland.